Hey, you geeks! 2 weeks ago, when I was listing the potential candidates for Hoid's future ex-wife, many of you in the comments asked what I thought about Valor. And I was like, who the heck is Valor?
Where is Gamora?
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Who's Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
Realizing that this is a topic I was completely unaware of, I got to do my favorite thing these past 2 weeks and do some research. For you see, over at the 17th Shard, they have received confirmation that Hoid's ex-love interest is none other than the bearer of the Shard of Valor, and that she, in fact, is a dragon. Which means that the topic of this video, Hoid's relationship with Valor, fits in so perfectly with my unofficial theme of the year, Dragon Spice, that I couldn't pass it up. Full credit to the people over at the 17th Shard for coming up with this theory, and for K-Myth over there who talked through the finer details of their logic in getting there. I am here to serve up their delicious biscuit of a theory with my personal brand of tea, because I can. Spoilers for the Stormlight Archive through Wind and Truth, along with a few setting spoilers for the Sunlit Man and Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Who is Valor? Valor is a shard of Adonalsia, meaning they are a person from Hoid's past, most likely. Therefore, they could fill the role of Hoid's undead Yolish wife of sorts, but I doubt it, as we will see. She is first mentioned in Rhythm of War by Harmony in his letter to Hoid, implying that Hoid had somehow told Harmony to go talk to Valor, although Hoid is not talking to Valor himself at this time, even though Harmony says, I do think that Valor is reasonable and suggest you approach her. Again, it has been too long, in her estimation, since your last conversation. Now, we know from Harmony's history in Mistborn that he's a very calm and perceptive person at his best, and gives pretty decent relationship advice, at least for Vin and Elend back when he was mortal. So this wasn't too strange, on top of the fact that Hoid has rather complicated relationships with pretty much every shard. In Words of Radiance, Hoid tells Adolin specifically that he doesn't get along that great with cultivation. And as for the remaining shards, Aona, Sky, and Tanavast are all dead, though Tanner once bought Hoid drinks. Also, Lyros in Mistborn Secret History indicates that he has fond memories of Hoid, so it seems like Hoid had some friends in the whole shattering business, but not surprisingly, Race sought them out and destroyed them.
Our list of allies grows thin.
His series of letters that we've read in the epigraphs of the Stormlight Archive indicate that while Hoid may consider these shards his friends, or at least acquaintances, with friends like them, who needs enemies? And he's written to like every single one of them, except for Valor herself, which seems weird when Harmony says she's a reasonable person. Thus begs the question, why did Hoid not reach out to Valor when he's trying to wage war with Odium? For Tanner, apparently their mutual friend at one point, once thought that Valor would help him in his fight against Odium. I made one final attempt at locating Valor, the great dragon god, Medelantorious, as she was a warrior who would surely join me. Medelantorious was not to be found, unfortunately. Now, it is possible that Tanner is not the most perceptive at this point, as it's around the time of the recreants on Roshar when he's saying this, but his instinct is to reach out for Valor, who, according to Harmony, is reasonable. So why does Hoid avoid her? Is it because, perhaps, like Honor, Hoid has a hard time finding Valor? As we shall see. Where is Valor? In Wind and Truth's epigraphs, we get more of the fascinating correspondence of Hoid and the shards, for we see Endowment's letter back to him, where once again, Hoid is talking to Endowment about Valor, but not writing to Valor himself. Apparently, he asked Endowment if she thought it was a good idea that he write to Valor, and yet Endowment, unlike Harmony, does not think it's a good idea. As for Valor, Ardalians are none of your business, for largely the same reasons. Can you not leave her alone? All I will say is that I have kept my bargain. I did not go in person at her request for aid. On a meta level, I think this is why some men fear asking for directions. They fear running into a diva like Endowment who has no time for their foolishness. And it tells us a lot about Endowment that she is stirring the pot while Harmony is trying to build a conciliatory bridge, thus setting up so much more interpersonal drama for at least the back 5 of the Stormlight Archive, when we will be getting the War of these Shards, I hope. Yet not to be overlooked, as I had overlooked in the first 3 times I read Wind and Truth, is that Hoid has the power of fortune and can appear wherever he is needed. And during this time period, Valor reached out to Endowment for aid, and Endowment did not answer. Nor did Hoid's sense of fortune bring him there to aid Valor in her hour of need. So, did she not actually need aid? Or did she just never particularly need Hoid's aid, or for Hoid to actually be there? Thus, by this point, we have Valor in more or less hiding, though willing to speak to certain shards, but never specifically Hoid. And we have Hoid acting like a shy schoolboy, passing notes, check yes or no if Valor actually wants to talk to me. Now let's not get too into that relationship drama right now and focus more on Valor is not just hiding from Hoid. She is hiding from, it seems like, most of the Cosmere at large, and that Endowment and Harmony seem to be the rare exceptions of shards who can actually get in touch with her, if Endowment actually did get in touch with her, or just spoke in generalities of their past correspondence. Still, Endowment doesn't seem to fear that her basically ignoring Valor's request for aid endangered Valor. It does not seem like she thought Valor was being attacked by autonomy or splintered herself like virtuosity. So what was Valor needing help with? Was it to more perfectly hide herself or do something clever with her shard? For we have an old word of Brandon from 2021 which points to Valor may not technically be currently held by the dragon Medelantorious. Question: is there more than one dragon amongst the shards? If so, how many are there? Brandon: only one dragon right now as a shard. It is unquestionably canon as of Wind and Truth that cultivation is a dragon. So that's one. I can count that high. So, does this mean that Valor is no longer being held by a dragon, or does it just mean that Brandon, as of 2021, hadn't decided to make the Bear of Valor be a dragon? For, as we shall see, if Valor is not currently held by Medelantorious, then none of the relationship drama that I'm teasing out of the subtext here makes any kind of sense for why Hoid should not reach out to Valor if that shard is being held by a new person. So I prefer to think that Valor has somehow hidden her shard somewhere and is no longer technically its bearer, but is the only person who has the authority to pick it up again for the time being, or something like that. For now, that would account for the biggest question of this video: why is Valor? Or more specifically, why Hoid won't just talk to Valor like a grown but adult. The answer, according to Endowment, is because actually, Valor has no interest in seeing Hoid ever again. These days, it seems she and I are the only ones capable of maintaining any manner of isolation. I can tell you with absolute certainty, she does not want to see you again. It has not been too long. No, I do not think it will ever be. Thus, where Harmony tried to build a bridge like a good Sanderson protagonist, Endowment is that little diva who is just like, no, creating future drama and leaving it us to the readers to interpret what the deal with Valor is. So here is where having an astute understanding of human-ish nature, or at least literary tropes, comes in super handy. For we know that Hoid is a trickster archetype character, and in Dungeons & Dragons terms, his ability to play the flute makes him a bard. Additionally, one reason why Wind and Truth is so gosh darn thick is that it gives us a disturbing amount of insight into Hoid's love life, or his history with the females, and how he's had lovers before, but none of them have ever stayed. Thus giving us the final in-book clue to what Hoid's deal with Valor may be. But to bring it all the way home, there are two very crucial words of Brandon that we have. The first being from 2024, when he was asked, Wit's dated a dragon. Has Wit also dated a shard? Brandon. Wit has dated someone who wasn't a shard at that point, but at some point in the future became a vessel for a shard. Thus, we have the knowledge that Hoid has joined the Elaine Min Avienda Donkey Club, and that he has dated a person who became a shard. Not surprisingly, we now have all of this info that Valor was in fact a dragon, Medelantorious, before taking on the shard. And now Hoid is doing everything in his power to talk around her, but not to her, thus leading Kamith to ask Brandon this question in the 17th Shard's latest interview of our favorite writer. Is the dragon Hoid dated and the vessel Hoid dated the same person? Brandon. Yes. Kamith. So, is it Valor? Brandon. It's Valor. But that's a spoiler. I give you guys spoilers. So here's your big spoiler. Yes. Thus, we have Brandon's word that Hoid and Valor's past relationship is a big spoiler, though it's already common knowledge that Hoid is a bit of a rake and has X's in different area codes. So what's so special about Valor? Does his relationship with Valor indicate something deeper regarding Endgame of Stormlight Archive and the Cosmere itself? It must. And although we have a scant few things to go off of, I think I have enough to make a theory, leaning heavily on the fact that I get a lot of C.S. Lewis vibes from Sanderson's work, and that the pun is so great I can't pass this up. For it seems that Hoid and Valor had, a great divorce back in the day, which leads me to think about Canticle. Canticle is a small planet that we see in the Sunlit Man, where the sun is so highly invested with divine power that no one dares stand beneath it. So the Threnodites who live on Canticle survive by the light of the planet's great ring, described as, it was actually a collection of rings, brilliant blue and gold, circling the planet, sweeping high in the air, extending as if into infinity. Canticle's ring is curious because it is two colors, blue and gold, that, as another secret project reminded us, Virtuosity's Yolen splits into two colors as well, cyan and magenta. So Sanderson is already developing a theme that when shards do weird stuff, their investiture breaks into two predominant hues. But Canticle, unlike Yumi's planet, does not have a known shard in residence. However, Sanderson, when asked about who invested Canticle, was oddly, cagey on his answer. The system is more invested than other worlds, part of why he's there, part of why he would end up there. Question: is there a shard on this planet or in this system? Brandon: there is not an active shard suffusing this planet in the same way that odium, cultivation, and honor suffuse Roshar, thus leaving the very real possibility that there is a shard suffusing Canticle in a different way than honor, odium, cultivation suffuse Roshar. We know that Canticle is a very small planet, yet has a relatively Earth-like gravitational pull, meaning that I equals E equals mc squared. What it lacks in mass, it must make up for with investiture in order to produce the proper gravitational field. Oh my gosh! Anyway, thus we know that not only does Canticle have a highly invested divine sun that burns people away, it also has a highly invested core. And I think that's how Valor has been able to hide herself from unwanted shard interference. Why do I think Valor in particular? Well, as I said, she and Hoid must have had some sort of great breakup or great divorce back in the day. And C.S. Lewis's book, The Great Divorce, ends in a huge divine killer sunrise, frying all the unworthy away. And that's how the Sunlit Man begins. So that, in addition to multiple other C.S. Lewis vibes I'm just getting from the name Medelantorious, this just works in my brain, and I can't unsee it. This doesn't mean I ship it, but I love a good pun, and this is peak pun for me. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to dig more into Valor's current possible location, or whatever other interesting tidbit of Cosmere lore you want to hear my opinions on. Otherwise, I hope to see you next week. Please like, share, subscribe, and hype if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. Bye!